walk in a way as if you're always hearing the most beautiful music, the most brilliant composition you can ever hear. Because you will see that the minute your mind brings that register, a sense of bliss gets engaged and dissolved in your whole body. In other words, the reason you suddenly experience very ecstatic states of bliss is because you are seeing one omniscience within one idea, and so suddenly you can see it through all. And so there's a connectivity between all those ideas. Imagine all those realities, all your good and bad, suddenly blending into one moment of just being. And it's very energetic. It's not something to add color to or think that it has to have a shape or it looks like something. This is an internal experience. But it is very close to how perhaps there is this quote by Beethoven. Don't only practice your art, but force your way into its secret, for it and knowledge can raise men to the divine, can raise man to the divine. Ludwig von Beethoven. And so we see that if we were a composer from long ago and music had become our life, would we be hearing the divinity that is a blissful, ecstatic moment found through the sense of omniscience that we get and the expressions that we are aware of? You will see that it is a great art to be able to always have your moment of being, your state of being amplified. What that means is when you go to a room, make that the president's walk after winning the election to go on stage and talk, you know? Just simply see that your moments are entrances for you to be aware of life. That's pretty much it. Now, intensify this by becoming aware of what you are aware of. Simply look at things. Hear my voice. See if your sense of hearing, your sense of taste, smell, touch, are these originating from one source or are they originating from separate sources? Is the way you look at reality keeping your reality that way? Could there be anything else? And so when you observe depths that you become aware of, you will see that you will either be ignorant and not swim that deep, or you will swim that deep. And what I mean by that is that the people who are hearing my voice right now, every one of us has fear which somehow presents itself. It's a natural process in our design. We are beings right now who are born. As we are born, we constantly go into creating a sense of identity. That sense of identity is constantly trying to identify and is also subconsciously being identified by its environment, you know? And so we're always looking for this I that is more able, more capable, more whatever. And so because we are surviving in that manner, there's also the observance of death, which makes us feel what's going to happen if we die. If we never saw any being die, would we be eternal? So would moments be eternal to you? An experience? Similar how you stop a video and it's just one picture in an instant, but the progression of the pictures is a movement. I think a lot of people are focused on how to live a life that is well. But where does wellness come from, aside from your ability to know more? If they ask you, what are you here to learn? What are you here to learn? No, don't give me different subjects, categories, specification, the things you've studied. Tell me, what are you here to learn from life? Okay, you found a section of it. You found the school area of it? What else are you here to learn from life? When you look at a tree, how are you meant to acknowledge that moment? How are you acknowledging your moment? And when you hear these questions, it is as if in the middle of the night, you have woken up and recognized you're falling, you know? Not out of place, but into place. You're aware that you are going from an ungrounded sense of orientation, an abstract orientation, to one that is suddenly very solid. So I can choose to tighten my shoelaces and completely just be here, and you will see that I can't even do actions and my habits that you will see me. I will become a statue without any belief in anything. Because we are not acknowledging how fragile the mind and the machine is. Our instruments are fragile, and so we need to have a gentler world into being able to explore these. And so this gentleness means that externally we want people to be more unified, peaceful, loving, but internally do not take away the chaos. And bring it more internal. So what that means is, instead of punching that person in the face who bothered you, internally visualize that scene happening and let it go. Become a creator so powerful that you were always aware of your creation. And what that means is that we feel a sense of disengagement with certain senses of being which we wish we could be in, because it's not the person transmitting it that is the problem. It is the receiver. And so how I would say that is, the ideas you are fundamentally based on suggest how much you can even receive from a question. So how much you have explored words, subjects, objects, and even the intelligence that keeps them here. You will recognize that intelligence, when it explores itself, it is very noble and so high beyond the hierarchy. It is the cloud in which clouds see. Visualize it that way. When we allow abstract ideas to engage in our subtler reality that help our physical reality, we realize that we can get mental nourishment through clarity. And clarity simply means immediate authentic self-awareness. So what that means is, if this was, there's a lot of teachers now, and a lot of teachers will find themselves leading those who feel the teachers must lead them. And you will see that. Think of your leadership before you decide that you're a teacher. Ask yourself this one question. If there was an apocalypse and there was a huge meteor about to hit Earth and we were all about to die, if you had one sentence or one moment to teach me something about your field, what would it be? If you have that much of an instant ability, where there are some beings, guys, amazing teachers, amazing existential teachers. And what I mean by that is, guys, they don't have a PhD degree, they haven't taught in schools, but the guy will look at you and you will just crumble in just understanding, because your sensitivity is constantly changing when you're not just keeping it there. You experience the many fluctuations. So it's not that by, let's say, meditating, or in a sense, I personally view this, that you're not here to get rid of problems, but to handle them so well that there is no problem. That is the solution. Because we don't want to reduce physical ability by just going into our internal experience. We want to cultivate the grace of a God that doesn't touch anything because it's always untouched. You will begin to recognize that once you're playful with reality, you also playfully transition in your reality as well. And what that means is, a lot of grown-ups perhaps do not feel they can very comfortably play. But playfulness is divine. You see kids playing, they are performing acts of very great state of being. Do you know? If there were eyes in the sky that actually came down, you would you would see they would not go talk to that PhD professor, but they would go observe the child that is performing an act in such a state of being. Playfulness allows you to incorporate the order in your life with the chaos and to comfortably navigate as a pilot of consciousness. These words have meaning because they are here to inspire, and I do not care who I'm speaking to, because I am speaking to the moment. And all forms present within the moment have a relevance to me, irrelevant to anything that can be verbalized or understood. And so when the wrath of a God becomes as transparent as your breath, you will see the hate in your life, the guilt, the fear, the sin, everything that you feel is the darkness that shouldn't be there is placed here by you. Because, my friends, something the human being has forgot to analyze, you are a teacher between selves. Different senses of self, of your own intelligence, are constantly engaging with you. It is as if once the circle was twisted, you know, it was always going through the center point in the infinity sign. We are teaching and learning through different senses of self, which are constantly breaking and, being constructed and deconstructed. And built, breaking and built. When I am told something immediately, if someone comes to me and tells me, you are this, 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 I immediately say, no, I'm also the other side of the spectrum. If you're calling me a saint, I'm also a sinner. Oh, don't call me a saint. I'm also a sinner, because I cannot let you as a being, to believe that I am in that solidified mental range. It is. We have good ideas, but we are not done. We're not those ideas. Ideas are doorways. And if you limit yourself, to one part of the doorway, by not acknowledging the other part of the doorway, you cannot pass comfortably. What that means is that perhaps the two sides of the arc were required to give it its proper architecture. As Rumi has beautifully suggested, we need two wings to fly. One of all the light that we can see, and that of the darkness that we are left in. And so being able to acknowledge both sides of the spectrum makes us able to be the observer rather than identifying as an object of observance. So if you are confronted, and just to clearly point out what I was saying about if I'm confronted, I will tell you, because I don't want you to just give something a name and stop looking at it. A lot of people are doing that. They're like, okay, he's a good guy, and they stop leaving. And one day they're like, what the hell? How did this good guy go do so many things? Because people are not looking clearly. We want to create advanced technologies here. I am talking to all those people who want to contribute by their life to creating the most amazing advanced technologies that we can have. I am here right now to allow everyone to see that they can allow themselves to be anything they want. But do not shape the beauty of an unshaped movement, of an unshaped process. You need to acknowledge both sides of the spectrum. If you see yourself as a failure, you must see yourself as a winner, or you will be imbalanced. Imbalance begins when you are not paying attention to the reality your attention is on. And that reality needs to be balanced in the sense that the moment you visualize yourself as a failure, know you also have the ability to visualize yourself as a success. And so the choice comes in how much you are naturally allowing yourself to be you. And you know, I think it was by Audio Slave, but perhaps the most interesting words that I've heard a singer say. Be yourself is all that you can do. But guys, do not limit this being. This being it's very unknown still. Think of it as this way, as right now we're acknowledging this physical body as a drop. I am telling you, let's get closer to the stream and the river, which means we will begin experiencing more collective reality. Suddenly more people will begin gravitating towards more people, and more men will begin seeing in the same eyes. And so we will see that because man has a compassion to allow sight to be present, we become the beacon of the moment. Because, guys, it is important to acknowledge the dualistic nature of this plane of existence properly. And a lot of people are avoiding acknowledging their physical things by just jumping into their ideas that, bend into spiritual experiences. When I say you need to acknowledge everything that is right here, that is the drop blending with all that it can visualize itself to be. To be comfortable with the present moment is one of the greatest acts in human achievement. If you can be comfortably present here in a manner where you are untouched by the spark of your being, but very beautifully its emanation, such a piece can never be seen in pieces. To maybe open the celestial door very compassionately. Maybe recognize that our ability as an individual is always suggesting to the greater ability of our collective. We are present through the beauty of many glances. And so as space and time playfully present themselves to you, you become not lucky, not a winner, but that being who's simply just perceiving everything as a gift. Everything that you see is so omniscient in value, omnipresent in value, omnipotent, that it connects, that if I see failure and I see success, there can be nothing but my next ability to visualize a greater vision. When you see, visionaries are never caught in their own vision. They are never bothered by being attached or detached to their content. They simply do what is required in the moment, because our breathing is the greatest statement of human life. for the celestial door was always here. Much blessings and namaste.